certification is not about just vegetarian and vegan. It also tells that there is a logo which you can follow, which you can eat. So even if you're traveling outside India, if you can, I mean today if you go to Singapore, you will find a Sattvic logo at the, in the Bikaner wala there. So and a Jain can go there and eat. They will not feel that, oh, I cannot eat or I have to carry my own food to Singapore now. So that's what we are trying to do. And I just want to mention one more thing, because we've been working on that pretty hard, and Doctor would agree with me that Ajinomoto. So almost 6 years back, when we were talking about, when we were just trying to establish Sattvic, it came into my mind that I was going through somewhere, and that Ajinomoto is actually destroying my life. Monosodium glutamate. And believe me or not, any packed food, whether it's written or it's not written, it's contained. It is there. It is there. I mean, it will be there in some other form. It will be there in some other prejudice, name, but it is there. Now, to your surprise and my surprise, I would just like to say that पहले क्या होता था, मैं हिंदी में बोलूँगा ये ताकि थोड़ा सा हो रहा है कि पहले क्या होता था कि अगर हम अगर सड़क पे चल रहे हैं और पीछे से हमें किसी स्कूटर वाले ने मार दिया या अगर साइकिल वाले ने मार दिया तो हंस करके उसको थोड़ा सा आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट ओनली 20-30 years बैक, माई स्कूल का, हम हंस करके उसको टाल देते, चलो ठीक है कोई नहीं, लग गया. टुडे if somebody hits you a little bit at the back, the guy will come out and actually he will he's so ferocious because he will be, you will think that he's going to kill you. Am I right or wrong? You must have seen this every time on the streets. And this is, nobody would understand and nobody would take to that, but believe me, it is only because the kind of food we are having right now. It is making us more and more and more aggressive, it is making us more cranky, and the kind of pressures we have today in today's life, it is not helping us. It is not helping us.
I agree. Yeah.
So this is what
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Biswas, for sharing your thoughts. I think we've talked now sort of about what the government has done, what individuals are able to do on their platforms, and what medical professionals are seeing in their office as a result of more or better food education. I think what I want to understand from Mr. Agarwal and also Ms. Agarwal is, what are some options out there that consumers can use, right? Tools or resources that people can use to understand their food better. And if there aren't any, what are things that we can do to make that more accessible? Are there groups that we can follow? Are there, certain philosophies we can, inculcate in our lives? Do you guys have any recommendations on that as a community of consumers?
Thank you, everyone. I have a very biased opinion on this. I would say the only solution we have is Poorna Satya on that. If you want to know what you're eating, what is the nutritional value, what certification it has, what labeling it has, literally everything we just talked about, it's there on the website. So we can just search a brand or search a product and you will get at least the basics to start with to make an informed decision. Another thing that while building this entire portal that we did a lot of research. And to be honest, FSSAI's basic labeling, the standards actually helped us to understand what does it mean and how the comparison of different products can happen. So I think just building on the current resources and everyone just understanding that just buying a product and eating is not enough, and just because we heard, let's say, brown bread is better than white bread doesn't mean it is true. Having a portal where you can actually search facts, get proper certifications, as you said, that there's a logo and you can, with the freedom of mind, you can just buy the product because you know it is certified. it helps our lifestyle choices, and that is consumer empowerment. So for me, as I said, biased opinion, Poorna Satya is the best photo for it.
Actually, there is something called National Institute of Nutrition, which is supposed to be educating people on good nutrition. They celebrated 100 years recently, okay, and they are government funded in Hyderabad. FSSAI also, which I was heading, we were in the same business in some sense of ensuring people have safe food, healthier food, wholesome food, and we also try to do a few things there. But I think must give credit to Chahat Agarwal and her team that they feel they have done all the research and they have all the information available on their website, etc., etc. That is amazing. That is really very credible. All credit does go to you. The challenge with food is it's complex. I think today we know so little about human body and human nutrition. I would say that we are only seeing the tip of the iceberg. That is the conversation I had a few weeks ago when I spoke to Chahat. And I didn't want to discourage her, but I was saying that let us take a specific case of MSG itself, which I don't want to pick up an issue with you, Abhishek Vishwas, but MSG, is used in all East Asian nations. It's part of their diets. It is part of all their diets. And Japanese, for instance, where MSG, 80-90% of MSG is currently manufactured and exported to around the world, they are one of the most healthy people around. Okay, MSG, and from MSG comes a taste called umami taste. So umami taste originates from what is called as MSG. And when FSSAI still has regulations that MSG is not good for infants, and there is a regulation around it that if something MSG is added, so you have to declare it is added, and it should not be consumed by infants. Which, when we examined it scientifically, we did not find any evidence around that. But this myth that MSG is bad, and you must have heard about this famous Maggie incident, on Nestle, and MSG was one of the culprits. And when I joined the FSSAI, we realized that MSG is in fact found in tomatoes and lots of vegetables that we normally consume.
Like natural.
And it's natural. So it's not feasible to figure out whether this MSG is natural or it has been added. Even if we say that added MSG is bad, tomatoes are not bad. Everyone takes tomatoes. So we remove that requirement that you can actually prosecute a person if MSG is found, because MSG, he may not have added MSG. It may have naturally occurred there. So I was just making a point that even on this widespread, I would say, knowledge about some understanding of MSG, there are very different schools of thoughts. There could also be lots of other issues which I do not want to talk about, because MSG came from East Asia, and the entire West world after the World War II were not very comfortable with Japan, and all kind of researches started coming in, etc., etc. So I think this way, food is very complex, because we do not know what we are eating, and I think somebody mentioned if you have tea after your food, you may not be able to absorb iron. And there is a new understanding about digestion, and that understanding is about gut microbiome, the gut bacteria that each one of us has, which is much bigger set of, that determines a lot of what you digest. And that also is responsible for your emotions, for your health, and a lot of things. And on gut microbiome, the research is only a decade old, which is now determining nutrition and digestion. So, having said this, I think what doctor mentioned, the good thing is that have a diverse diet, lots of fibers, and because all the nutrients will come from diverse diets, and you don't know which diet is good to have and which is not good to have. And therefore, there is an entire movement that we should have minimally processed food. And I think you mentioned that what our grandmothers used to cook and eat, that is best. Eat local and seasonal. So these are the primary stuff that is basically common sense nutrition advice that most people will give you. In that context, the challenge, Chahat, for you is going to be that how do you, create information on diet and nutrition and monetize the photo that we are creating. And the grim reality is that food processing globally is rapidly growing. And even in India, where we used to have 10 to 50 food, just when I started my career with FSSCI, today we have 30% of our food that is processed. And processed food, most often is not considered to be good food. And therefore, perhaps that is where the business opportunity for you lies, that there will be a lot more processed food available in the marketplace. And therefore, people who are, aware that they should have good nutrition, good food, they will look for, turn the label and try to figure out whether that food is good for them, or will go to your website and figure out whether the food they are having is good or not. So this entire area is very complex, and once again, you have gone into a very complex area. All the best to you. But I would say that it is extremely complex. And the organization that I currently lead is also trying to do something similar. It is a non-profit organization, and I will just take 30 seconds more. Merely information about food is not good enough. Merely knowing a certain food is bad or not bad is not good enough. I think building habits to have good food is far more important, and building habits cannot happen by having information. And therefore, we are talking in terms of food literacy curriculum. And it is in this hall, last month, we basically launched our food literacy curriculum, which we are trying to reach out to all schools in the country and integrate food and nutrition education in schools, right from KG nursery up to class 8. So I think, engaging school children right from early childhood so that they develop with positive relationship with food. I'm not saying they should only know about food, but also understand where their food comes from. The environmental footprint of food is also becoming very important. And in the entire debate on food systems, we are now talking not only about food should be healthy, food also should be sustainably grown so that its environmental footprint is less. So I'll stop here, because these are topics that are very, close to my heart, and I can go on and on speaking on.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience, sir. As we can, see here, we have people from all different walks of life, and there's different schools of thought on every single topic. It's great to hear the thoughts, and it's really great to have all of you here. What we're hoping to achieve with Poorna Satya is to make sure that even though there's different schools of thoughts, that the information out there is available so that you can then choose what thought you care about and want to follow, and you can make a choice for yourself. It doesn't have, we're not here to tell you if it's a good choice or a bad choice. The food literacy programs will do that. But for now, we will at least be able to provide you that information
And that's what the hope is we'll provide you with the complete truth. So thank you everyone for participating.